Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, if you're really serious about getting fluent in English, or maybe just really frustrated with language learning, you definitely know this moment. You're in a conversation, someone asks you something, and bam, before a single English word comes out, your brain just kicks into overdrive. You're translating the question, thinking up the perfect answer in your own language, then scrambling for the English words, and by the time you've done all that mental gymnastics, the moment's gone. They've moved on. It's like the ultimate bottleneck.
It really is that constant back and forth, that internal translation loop. That's often the biggest hurdle separating intermediate learners from, truly fluent speakers. So our deep dive today is all about how to, well, short circuit that whole process. We're going to share some really powerful, uh, systematic ways to train your brain to stop translating and start actually thinking directly in English, the way any native speaker just naturally does it.
And that switch, once that internal voice starts speaking English, everything just clicks. It gets faster, speaking feels smoother, you understand way more, and that like mental drain from conversations, it just starts to fade away. It's probably the single biggest lever you can pull in language learning.
Definitely. So let's dig into that. Why exactly is translation such a fluency killer?
Well, basically, your brain is doing double the work. It's like it's paying a huge tax on every thought. Think about it. First, it forms the thought in, say, language A. Then it has to act like a little internal translator to push it out in language B, English. That delay, that constant mental gear shifting, it just stops the natural rhythm of speech from ever really developing.
And it doesn't just slow you down, right? It kind of messes up the English itself sometimes.
Yeah.
Because translating word for word, well, it can lead to some really weird sounding sentences, stuff that makes sense in your language but just sounds off in English. Exactly. You see it all the time with idioms or even really simple stuff like if your language literally says, I have cold for being cold, and you just translate that directly, it sounds unnatural in English. But if you think the concept of being cold directly in English, you'll naturally say, I am cold. It avoids those awkward, clunky phrases.
Okay, so the benefits, the so what, for you listening, they're pretty massive. First, obviously, speed and fluency. Your response time just plummets.
Right. From maybe 3 seconds down to like half a second.
Yeah.
Instant difference. Second, confidence. When you're not pausing and stumbling to translate in your head, you just sound more fluid.
And feeling more fluent makes you feel more confident, which helps you speak more. It's a positive cycle.
Exactly. Third, and this one's huge, your listening skills get a massive boost. If your brain is already operating in English mode, it catches words instantly. In conversations, movies, music, whatever.
So you're not constantly playing catch up, trying to translate what you just heard.
Yeah. Precisely. You're processing in real time, which leads to much better comprehension. And finally, number 4, it even helps your pronunciation.
How does thinking affect pronunciation?
Well, when you think in English, you start to internalize the sound of the language, the rhythm, the intonation, the stress patterns. You hear them in your head correctly. And that mental model directly influences how clearly you actually speak the words.
Okay, that's a really compelling list. Speed, confidence, listening, even pronunciation. So if it's that good, why do so many learners, really smart, dedicated people, just get stuck in that translation trap? This is where it gets interesting. We need to look at the common mistakes, the roadblocks that actually stop the brain from making that switch.
Yeah, the biggest one, the main culprit, is simply relying too much on your native language,
Yeah.
using it as a constant crutch. If you always go back to your own language first, your brain never builds those direct pathways, concept straight to English word. It doesn't learn to trust itself to do it alone.
It's like trying to ride a bike, but keeping the training wheels on forever, right?
Exactly that. And tied into that, I think, is mistake number 2, overthinking the grammar, that obsession with perfection.
Ah, yes. I know I've done this. Trying to get every single tense, every article perfect before even opening your mouth. It just freezes you up.
It totally does. And it leads straight into the third big mistake, just being afraid of messing up.
Mm.
Look, fluency isn't about perfection. It's built by practicing, by making mistakes, and crucially, by learning from them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're so scared of saying something wrong that you don't say anything or even think anything in English, well, you're blocking the only way forward. Mistakes are just data points.
Right. Data, not disaster. Okay. And the fourth one.
The immersion challenge. If English is just like a 2-hour class twice a week or something you only think about when you have to, but the rest of your day, your thoughts, the TV you watch, the news you read is all in your native language. Your brain's always going to default back to what's easy and familiar.
So English needs to be woven into daily life, not just quarantine to study time.
Exactly. You've got to integrate it.
Okay, so those are the main pitfalls. Relying on translation, overthinking grammar, fear of errors, and not enough immersion. Recognizing them is huge. So now let's pivot. Let's talk solutions. What are the actionable steps, the strategies people can actually use to start retraining their brains?
All right, let's get practical. We've got 6 strategies. These are powerful step-by-step things you can start doing, like today. Strategy 1 is super simple, almost meditative. Just start naming things around you, silently in English.
Like right now. Okay. Microphone, screen, water bottle.
Perfect. Just single words to start. Bed, window, lamp, phone. Get that habit going. And then take it just one small step further. Don't just think cup. Think, I'm drinking coffee from my cup, or this is a blue pen.
Connecting the object to a simple action or description makes it more concrete.
Exactly. Contextualizes it. Okay, strategy 2. Talk to yourself in English.
The classic advice, does it really work?
It really does. When you're doing everyday things, cooking, getting dressed, walking somewhere, just narrate what you're doing. Simple stuff. Okay, I'm putting on my shoes now. It looks sunny outside. It might feel a bit weird at first.
Definitely feels weird.
Yeah. But there's zero pressure. No one's listening. It lets you practice forming actual sentences without any fear of judgment.
Okay, I can see that. Low stakes practice. What's next?
Strategy 3. And this would be a real game changer. Use an English-to-English dictionary.
Ooh, okay. Instead of English to my language.
Exactly. Ditch the bilingual dictionary, at least for this exercise.
Yeah.
If you keep translating back to your native language, you're just reinforcing the very habit we want to break.
Okay, but I have to push back a little here. That sounds potentially really frustrating, especially if you're not super advanced. Like, you look up a word you don't know, and the definition uses 3 more words you don't know. Couldn't you just get stuck in a loop and give up?
That's a totally fair point. And yes, honestly, it can be harder at the beginning. It requires some patience. But think about the payoff. Every time you successfully figure out an English word from an English definition, like you look up eager and see, wanting to do or have something very much, your brain is forging a direct link. English words straight to the meaning, the concept. No detour through your native language.
Okay. So it bypasses the translation step completely at the level of understanding the word itself.
Precisely. You only need to build that direct connection once, and it tends to stick much better. It's like higher quality input for your brain.
Got it. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Makes sense. All right, strategy 4.
Think in simple sentences first. Don't try to construct like complex philosophical arguments in your head right away.
Probably good advice.
Start really small. If you're thinking about lunch, don't try to internally debate the pros and cons of different cuisines. Just think, I am hungry, or I need vegetables.
Keep it basic.
Yep. The complexity will come naturally over time as you get more comfortable. Build a foundation first. Strategy 5 builds on this. Consciously create an English inner voice.
So like deliberately make my internal monologue switch languages.
Exactly. Catch yourself when you're thinking about your plans or asking yourself questions. Instead of defaulting to your native language for what should I do next, consciously switch and think, okay, what's the first task? Or how am I feeling today?
Actively directing your internal thoughts into English. That sounds powerful.
It's one of the fastest ways to start making English thinking feel automatic. And finally, strategy 6 ties back to that immersion point we made earlier. Surround yourself with English, actively.
So more English podcasts, movies, books.
Yes. Music, news articles, YouTube videos, whatever you enjoy. The more English input you get, the more your brain just accepts it as a normal operating language. It fuels that internal switch.
Okay, 6 strategies. Name things, talk to yourself, use an English-only dictionary, simple sentences first, cultivate an English inner voice, and immerse yourself. That's a solid toolkit.
It is. But knowing the tools isn't enough, right? You need to use them consistently. Daily practice is where the real change happens.
Right. So let's talk about building habits. What are some specific daily exercises people can actually do to make these strategies stick?
Okay. Daily practice number 1, hijack the start and end of your day.
How so?
The moment you wake up, before you even get out of bed maybe, mentally run through your plans for the day in simple English. Okay, got to shower first, then coffee, meeting at 10. And then, before you fall asleep, do a quick review of your day in English. Went for a walk, talked to Sarah, the presentation went okay. It frames your day in English.
Sets the mode when you wake up, reinforces it before you sleep? Clever.
Daily practice 2. This one directly tackles the translation reliance. Set a no translation rule time block.
Ooh, like a challenge. For how long?
Start small, maybe just 15–20 minutes, or even 10. But commit to, say, 30 minutes a day where you only think in English. Whatever you're doing, reading, cooking, commuting, force yourself. If you get stuck on a word, fine, describe it, but don't switch back to translate.
Even if it's a struggle, the effort itself is the practice.
Exactly. Okay, daily practice 3. Take the talk to yourself strategy and do it out loud.
Ah, make it physical.
Yep. When you're doing chores, making tea, whatever, narrate it. Okay, pouring the water now. Where's the tea bag?
Yep.
It connects the thought directly to speech production. Makes it more real.
Less abstract, okay.
Daily practice 4. Use dead time for simple English thinking.
What do you mean by dead time?
You know, when you're doing something routine that doesn't require much brain power, driving, waiting in line, maybe exercising, use that time for simple internal narration in English.
Yeah.
Don't aim for complexity. Just observe. That's a fast car. The sky is gray today. I need to remember to buy milk. Keep the English part of your brain ticking over.
Makes sense. Integrate it into the mundane moments. And the last one.
Daily practice 5. Keep a really simple English journal.
Like writing practice.
Sort of, but the focus isn't really on perfect writing. Just jot down a few thoughts each day. What you did, how you feel, maybe a goal for tomorrow. The key is expressing yourself quickly in English, getting thoughts onto paper without agonizing over grammar. It's also a fantastic way to actually see your progress over time.
That's true. You'd have a record. Okay, so start 10-day in English. No translation rule time, talk aloud, use dead time, keep a simple journal. Those are great concrete habits.
They create the consistency. But let's be real, it's not always smooth sailing. People will hit challenges. That translation habit is strong.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What happens when you're trying your no translation rule for, say, 5 minutes, and your brain just automatically snaps back to your native language? It feels like failing.
It does feel like failing, but it's not. The key is gentle persistence. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just notice it happened and gently redirect back to English. Go back to the simplest strategy if you need to, just naming objects again, or forming a really basic sentence. Okay, I'm sitting here. Be patient. Every time you catch it and switch back to English, you're strengthening that new mental pathway.
So don't get discouraged. Just gently correct course. Okay. What about challenge 2? The vocabulary gap. That moment when you know exactly what you want to say, but you just can't find that one specific English word. It's maddening.
It is, and the instinct is always to immediately grab your phone and translate it.
Right, totally.
But that reinforces the translation loop again. So the brain hack here is, don't stop talking or thinking. Instead of searching for the perfect word, describe it using the English you do know.
Ah, circumlocution, talking around the word.
Exactly. If you forget the word fridge, don't freeze. Think or say, the cold box in the kitchen where we keep the food.
Okay, so you stay in English mode, and you still communicate the idea.
Precisely. It keeps the flow going, and it forces you to be creative with the vocabulary you have. It's actually great practice.
That's a really useful technique. All right, final big challenge. Losing motivation because it feels like you're not making progress. Language learning can feel so slow sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Progress often happens in tiny increments that are hard to notice day to day. You don't suddenly wake up fluent. So the solution here is active tracking. You need to find ways to see how far you've come. That simple journal we talked about, perfect for this.
Right, you can look back at entries from a month ago.
Exactly. Or maybe record yourself speaking for a minute or two every few weeks. When you compare the recordings, you'll hear the difference. The pauses get shorter, the sentences flow better, maybe your vocabulary is richer.
Seeing that concrete evidence must be really motivating.
It really is. It proves the daily effort is paying off, even when it doesn't feel like it. Consistency trumps motivation. You just got to keep showing up.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot. Why thinking in English is crucial, the major mistakes that stop us, 6 really practical strategies to make the switch, and 5 daily exercises to build the habit. Plus, how to tackle those inevitable challenges. It really comes down to understanding that thinking in English is a skill you build like any other. It takes the right approach and consistent daily effort.
Absolutely. And the core message really is don't be intimidated. Start small, name one object, think one simple sentence, be consistent, and please don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's literally how you learn.
We've basically laid out the roadmap for changing your brain's default operating system. So, the real question for you listening right now isn't if you can learn to think in English, it's just when you're going to start putting these ideas into practice. So, here's the challenge: pick one single thing from this deep dive, just one. Maybe naming 5 things you see right now, or narrating the very next simple action you take. Or setting a timer for just 5 minutes for a no translation period. Do that one thing right after this finishes. Today, that single small action. That's the first step. That's the pivot point to finally switching your brain into English mode. Keep at it. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.